In this video, we'll be creating this component that shows the date, time, the latitude and longitude of the location, and some basic weather info that displays on the top of the screen. So this is the older Netlify app. So this was the progress that we were left in the last video. So we'll be continuing from here and creating this top section here. So first, let's remove these two parts, which is the hello world text and the status bar, and we need to create a new component. So that new component will be what remains on the top here. So to do that, in the Explorer, we'll create a new folder called components. So in the components folder, we'll create a new file called date time. So you can name it whatever you want. So since we are displaying just date and time and some basic weather info there, I just call date and time, and we'll use the use emmet to create a function component. So this creates a basic function component for React, and we'll just remove the div and replace it with view here. So view is somewhat equivalent to a div in HTML. So we have not imported view, so we'll just import that. So we'll do import view from React Native. Okay, so this creates a basic React Native file. Now we'll import that here. So to do that, we'll go in the we'll just collapse this, and here we'll do import say date time from dot slash components slash datetime.js. Okay, and to put that file here, we'll just use the same syntax, which is date time, and we just close that. And this will, on saving that, you can see the hello world is gone, and we have everything set up here. So if we put, say, a text and say hi, and since we have not imported the text, we'll just import that, and then we save that. You can see that hi is here. It's very small, but it's there. So now let's create this. In the last video, how did we structure this? If you see the HTML code for this one, you can see that the whole there will be one div that contains everything here. There will be another div that's containing this part, and there will be a div that's containing this part. Okay, and everything will be is aligned using flexbox, and the flex here has a flex direction of column, so everything is in column, and the bigger container, the flex direction is row. So we'll be using that same principle here. So we'll go here and create a container. So basically here the container will be this outside view. Okay, and in there we'll create two other views. So we'll just remove that from here for now, and we'll create two views which will correspond to the two divs that we created in the HTML. Let's just open that code as well to show you the similarities. So I just open my GitHub. So I have opened my the GitHub repository for the weather website. So you can see that in the container of the top container, there are two other containers, which is the date container and the place container. So this is the date container and this is the place container, and we are going for the same thing here. So one will be date container and other will be the place container. So within the date container, there will be three other children, which is one will be this, which is time, the other will be the date, and the third one will be the weather data. So we'll create the same logic here. So inside this first one, which is the date container, we'll create three more views there. So one will be the text. So here for text for the time, so say 12:30 a.m. So you can see that 12:30 a.m. is here. We need a similar container for place. So we'll copy this and paste it here, and we'll change this to say Monday, June 7. Below that, we'll have the weather container. For that, we'll create a view. We'll create that as a separate component. Why we are creating that as a separate component? Because the weather this view is this container, and there are individual line items. So we'll create each of this line item as a weather item component, and we'll give that value. So we'll create that in just a bit. First, let's finish off with this part, which is the time zone and the latitude. So that will be in the last div here, and we'll just create two text component, and we'll just add Asia, Kolkata, and the second one will be the latitude and longitude. So say what, 4.2 north and 50 east, some random number. Okay, and when we save that, you can see all those data have been loaded here. Now we need to create the weather item. Okay, so weather item will be a separate component that will be this individual line item. So generally when we create a component, generally we create it in a new file so that the code is more structured. But since we have only a little code, we'll create the same component in this file itself. So above the date time component, we will create another component, which is the weather item, and this will also be a function component. Okay, and this will also return some things. There will be a view that's wrapping everything, and within it there will be text. So here there are two texts. One is the title and the value. So same thing here, there will be title, say humidity, and say the value is what, 86%. And when we save that, nothing will happen here, but because we have not imported that into this code, which is reflecting here. So we'll do that. So in this view here, we'll pass the weather item. Okay, and we'll copy this and paste it multiple times, say 4 times, and save that. So you can see the humidity 58%, humidity 58% has been loaded 4 times. We do not want it to be a static content. So here it's static. We need to pass the data from, we need to be able to pass data from here. So the way we can pass data from this component to this component is using props. Say for this instance, there are 3 values. One is the title, second one is the value, and third one is the unit. So we need 3 props to pass those 3 values. So we'll create those. So title, say we create the title as say humidity. Okay, say we create another prop and we'll pass the value as say 79, and we'll create still another prop and we'll pass the value as percentage. Okay, now we need to, so we'll just remove these for now. Okay, now we need to be able to access these props from here. So way we can do that is the parameters will get the values in props. So if you say we want to have the title here, you can say that props, not this way, we do curly braces, then props dot title. You can do it this way, or what you can simply do is we'll just remove this props and we can just destructure it from the parameter itself. So we'll use object destructuring there, and we can do title, value, and unit. So this represent the three parameters that we are passing here: title, value, and unit. Okay, so the title will be here, the value will be here, and the unit will be here. If you see, we are using the dynamic values, okay, and we are passing it here. So from this one item, we are able to reduce the code. So say we need multiple weather items, right? So we'll just paste this multiple times, and here we'll just change it to say pressure. Say if we want say sunrise here, we'll just do sunrise. Say we want sunset here, we'll do sunset, and we'll just pass we'll just keep it 79 for humidity. We'll set say 1000 for pressure, and we'll change the unit to HPA, and sunrise will be 6 a.m. These are all just for static content. We'll be replacing it with the response from the weather API. That will be in a future video. First, we'll be creating all these components for the whole screen, and we'll be styling these as well. So when we save that, you can see all the data has been loaded here. Now we need to style all of them to make this look like this. So let's begin that. As I said in last video, to style we need the style sheet component. So we'll just import that style sheet from React Native, and below the component here, create the style sheet. So const styles equal to style sheet dot create. It's the function and takes an object inside, and the styles we can set here. Okay, so since we have the same structure here, we'll go with the same logic, which is there is an outer container. Okay, so we'll just style the container first, which is this view that is wrapping everything. So I have tried this once and I have found some values, so I'll be putting that here. So we'll set the flex as 1.5, and as I said earlier, this one container, the flex direction is row, so this will be one child inside the container, and this will be another child inside the container. So we'll set the flex direction of row. We save that. You can see that nothing has happened, so we will justify content to be space between. So why is nothing happening? The reason why nothing is happening here is because we have not used the style in this container. So so to do that, in the outside view, we'll create the style and we'll create use the styles dot container, and when we set that, you can see it has moved everything to the top, and we have some values here. So we have moved everything to two opposite sides. So we have moved the date container to this side, and we have moved the place container to the other side. So now let's style the text here. So we'll create style equal to styles dot say heading, since it's the biggest text in here. So we'll set heading as say it has a font size of 45. So in React Native we do not use any pixel or EM or REM or anything like that. We'll just specify it a value. So now the size has increased. Now let's set the color as white. We'll also reduce the font weight. So we'll set as that's there. Now let's style the date here. So we'll just call it say subheading. Okay. So we have not given that value here, so we'll just copy this from here, paste it here, and make it subheading. I hope it is capital. Yeah, subheading. And for subheading, we'll say give the font size of 25. We'll set a color of, say, if you want to pass like hexadecimal values, we'll do hash and EEE, and we'll reduce the font weight here as well. So we'll set font weight as 300. And when we save that, we can see that here. Now let's text align this to, which is the time zone and the latitude longitude to the right. So to do that, we'll again copy this from here, not that, here, and we'll paste that here. Actually, we'll just paste it in text and this text also. Okay, so we just want to right align this, so we'll just do right align. Now this will be the time zone, and this will be the, say, lat long. Okay, now we can style these. So the right align would be just what, text align right. Yep. Now we need to style the time zone and lat long. So time zone, for time zone we can say set the font size, say 20, and we will set the color as white as well. Now for the lat long, same thing, we'll set the font size to 16, and we'll set the color to white, and we'll increase the font weight and set it to 400. Okay, so it's a bit dense. Actually, we'll just increase 400 to 700. Yep, that looks a bit better. Actually, we do not want it to be on so on top. So in the right line, we'll add a margin top as well. So margin top, we'll give a value of say 20, So it's a little bit lower than the extreme top. So now let's style this, which is the weather item. So first we'll style this, which is the container, because we need to display this as flex. Only then we can display this individually. So we'll copy this from here and paste that here, and we'll make it as weather item container. We'll save that, and we can style that. So put comma, weather item container, colon, enter, and we'll set a background color for this so that there is a bit of difference. So we'll use the hexadecimal values 18181B99 and save that. So you can see there is a darker background there. For that we'll set a border radius, and we'll give it a value of say 10. We'll add a padding so that content is not sticking to the end, and we'll give a margin top so that there is a separation from the date. So we'll give that as 10 as well. When we save that, everything is a bit rounded and almost to the center. Okay, so now let's style the weather item, which is this here. So same stuff, style equal to styles dot say weather item, and we'll just copy this because we need that for the text as well. So we'll add those here, and we'll change it to say title, not just the whole weather item title, and weather item value, and we'll copy the weather item, we'll come to the end and we'll paste the weather item, and we want the flex direction of weather item to be row. So we will set that flex direction of row. So you can see everything is aligned in a row, and we want it to be in the two extremes. So we'll justify content to space between. So space between. We'll save that. Now the text are on two extreme ends. Now let's style the title and the value. So we'll get the weather item title and set the color as white, and we'll set the font size as 14, and we will set the weight 100. Okay, we need the same for weather item value as well. So we'll copy paste the thing, and we'll change the title to value. Actually, you know what, since we have the same thing, we'll just remove this value from here. Okay, we go on top, make this both this style of type, so it will be the same thing any which way. So now you can see it's stuck to the end, so we'll just add a padding to the container. We'll give a padding of say 10. So now it's not sticking to the very end. You may even try to make it 15 to see how it looks. Yeah, that works as well. So we have created the date and time container. So you can see it's somewhat similar, not the exact same, but it's somewhat similar. So in the next video, we'll be creating this container here that will have the weather for today and the forecast for the next week. We'll create this component in the next video. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching and see you guys in the next one.